From Gumball's entire body disappearing except for one arm, to bathroom windows that suddenly appear in one episode, only to disappear again in the next, Gumball is full of bizarre and hilarious animation slip-ups. From disappearing pupils, floating arms, and missing legs, today we're going through every animation error that slipped past the animators and made the show even weirder than we thought. Starting with a scene in the episode The Prank, and this scene might make you blink twice. Gumball and Darwin spend the day playing jokes on Richard. They think it's all fun, but Richard takes it too far and starts planning pranks that are actually dangerous. While they're hiding, Gumball looks completely stressed out, and Darwin reaches out to calm him down. That's when things get really weird. Darwin's arm just pops off. Not like a joke, not a part of a scene, it literally just detaches from his body for a split second. Gumball ends up holding the arm on Darwin's body, and both act as if nothing happened. This is a genuine animation mistake, showing how just small oversights can create a moment this bizarre. But next, let's see Gumball running into a serious animation issue in the episode The Uncle. For one brief frame, Gumball's right pupil disappears. Something about this makes him look completely wrong. You can see that this frame doesn't match the rest of the episode. Gumball's features are out of place, and the expression is distorted. It's not meant to be creepy. This is clearly a frame where the animators missed a detail. For a split second, Gumball looks like a completely different character, and it's impossible to ignore. Next up, Gumball's new superpower lands him in another animation mess in the episode The Mustache. After accidentally taking Richard's supplements, thinking that they're cereal, he and Darwin gain super strength, and of course, mustaches. Sounds fun, right? Well, there's a catch. While buying movie tickets, Gumball's body is completely torn apart for just a moment. It's wild to watch. One second, he's standing normally, and the next, he looks like a ripped cartoon ragdoll. His body literally breaks because of an animation error. Gumball may have gained strength, but the animators clearly forgot a few details here. If you thought Gumball tearing himself apart was wild, just wait until he starts disappearing entirely. In the episode The Dress, he tries to pretend to be someone else because he's embarrassed to be seen in his mom's dress. Things quickly spiral out of control as he invents a complicated story that somehow makes everything worse. And then it happens. In one scene, his torso disappears from the waist up, leaving only the lower half of his body to be visible. This is a clear animation mistake where a part of his model wasn't drawn in. In the episode The Faith, Gumball's model experiences a serious animation mistake. During one scene, his mouth suddenly splits into two. For a brief moment, he has two mouths instead of one, which doesn't match the rest of the episode. This isn't part of the story. It's a clear animation error. Both mouths are still easily visible, making his face look different than all the other frames around it. It's easy to spot if you're watching closely, and just shows how one small slip can make a character look completely off in just a single frame. And somehow, the animation errors don't stop there. As in the episode The Helmet, the Watterson family becomes obsessed with a paper hat that they believe brings good luck. During one scene, Gumball's teeth suddenly turn completely brown. The coloring doesn't match how his teeth look in the rest of the episode, and the change happens from one moment to the next, making it easy to spot if you're paying attention. But if you think that's the only error here, later in the same episode, another animation mistake happens. In a quick shot, Gumball's legs completely disappear while the rest of his body stays visible. His upper body keeps moving normally, but there's nothing underneath him, making it look like he's just floating in place. Both of these moments happen very fast, but once you notice them, they stand out as clear visual inconsistencies within the same episode. But this isn't the last time Gumball's lower half mysteriously disappears. In the episode The Others, Gumball and Darwin are launched into a row of lockers during a chaotic moment at school. As Gumball hits the lockers, his legs completely disappear for several frames. Only his upper body remains visible, making it look like his legs were never drawn as a part of that scene. This is a clear animation error where part of his character model is missing, and even when Gumball's body finally stays intact, the animation slips up in a different way. In the episode The Date, there's a scene where the whole family is sitting together and talking while eating. Gumball tells the family that Penny asked him out on a date. Nicole feels happy about it, and Nicole tells Gumball to act himself to impress Penny on the date. Then she leaves for work, and a few seconds later, Nicole suddenly reappears at the table as if she never left, creating a clear continuity mistake. The next episode brings us to one of the strangest animation mistakes yet. In the episode The Stories, there's a moment where Gumball is shaking Darwin during an intense scene. If you look closely and go frame by frame, Gumball's body suddenly disappears. For a brief moment, only one of his arms are left on screen, still holding Darwin. The rest of his body is completely missing. It's a clear animation mistake where Gumball's character model wasn't even fully drawn in the frame. The scene continues normally right after, making the air even more noticeable once you spot it. Next up is the episode that also hides more than one air inside of a chaotic scene. In the episode The Fight, the entire school is in chaos as Gumball desperately tries to avoid fighting Tina. Students crowd around, reacting to the tension and watching everything unfold. In the middle of this busy scene, two separate animation mistakes slip through. First, if you look closely at Penny while she's standing in the crowd, there's a brief moment where an extra eye appears below her body. The eye isn't attached to any character and doesn't belong in the scene at all. It shows up for a split second, then disappears, making it a clear layering mistake that was never meant to be seen. But if you look closely, later on, the same episode features another air during a fast-moving moment with Banana Joe. When Gumball removes a banana peel, the same peel layer stays visible for a brief moment, even though it should be gone. This leftover layer creates the impression that the peel never fully disappears. Both mistakes are quick, but slowing the scene down makes them easy to spot and shows how small animation oversights can appear in crowded, action-heavy scenes. Next up is the episode that introduces an air that was meant to stay hidden. In the episode The Fraud. In this scene, Gumball is supposed to be censored on screen, with a blur covering part of his body. The blur is clearly meant to hide something the audience shouldn't see. The problem is that the blur doesn't always work. For a few frames, the censor layer fails, and the full image becomes visible underneath. It's a clear layering error where the blur was either missing or placed incorrectly for a moment. Even the Copycat characters aren't immune to these slip-ups, as in the episode The Copycats, there's a noticeable animation mistake with Nicole's cheap copy. During a scene where she scolds Gumball's copy for being lazy, she raises both of her hands, but part of her left hand disappears. The rest of her body moves normally, which makes the missing section stand out clearly. It's a small but obvious error that shows that even the copy characters aren't immune to animation oversights. The next episode proves that even these smallest details can be forgotten. In the episode The Mirror, there's a noticeable animation mistake involving Richard. In one scene, his whiskers are completely missing. The animators forgot to draw them in, leaving him without his usual facial feature. It's a small but obvious error, and it stands out because Richard's whiskers are normally always visible. This is another example of how even minor oversights can create weird and noticeable inconsistencies in the show. And once again, a familiar character ends up looking slightly off. In the episode The Authority, Nicole has a clear animation mistake during a heated scene with Granny JoJo. As Nicole snaps and launches herself at JoJo, her pupil disappears for a moment, making her expression look off and noticeably different from the rest of the sequence. To be fair, it's a small error, but it stands out in the insanity of the fight. And just when you think the previous animation slips were unusual, the next episode proves that mistakes can happen anywhere. In the episode The Limit, there are a couple of noticeable animation mistakes during the supermarket scene. First, when Darwin asks Nicole for chocolate, only his arm appears on screen. His entire body is missing for a few frames. The rest of the supermarket looks normal, which makes his floating arm stand out even more. Small mistakes like missing color or floating body parts can really stand out when you slow down the footage. In the same episode, another mistake occurs with Richard. One of his body parts aren't colored in, while the rest of the family and Gumball are fully animated. This small coloring error is clearly visible. Even when slowed down, it's obvious, showing how easily mistakes can slip into a blurry shot. Even small reactions can go wrong, like a simple ear shift. At the beginning of the episode The Advice, Gumball and Darwin are hanging out in the school halls when all of a sudden a loud noise catches them off guard. In the reaction, Gumball's ear suddenly shifts positions, creating a distorted look. This is a a clear animation mistake, as his ear placement doesn't match the rest of the scene and appears completely out of place for a second. We've been over a lot of animation errors, and continuity errors aren't limited to character models, as sometimes props get affected too. In the episode The Ghost, there's a small animation mistake involving Carrie's tray of food. When she uses Gumball's body to eat, one item on the tray stands out as a beige-brown color. Immediately after her conversation with Gumball, the same item changes to green. This is a clear continuity error between the frames. The rest of the scene remains constant, making the sudden color change stand out even more. It's a minor mistake, but noticeable for anyone paying attention to the details. Even brief action scenes can slip up, as the next episode shows. In the episode The Microwave, Gumball and Darwin create a monster named Kenneth using a mix of snot, bird poop, Richard's belly hair, and sour milk. After being attacked by their creation, the brothers gear up the most advanced armor they have, a pan and a strainer. During this chaotic chase scene, a small animation mistake slips through. Darwin blinks, but the color in his eyes disappear, along with one of his pupils. It's a subtle mistake, but once noticed, it's almost impossible to ignore. And the animation mistakes continue, this time during a full-blown family fight. In the episode The Remote, several small animation mistakes slip through during the chaos of the Watterson family fighting over the TV remote. In one frame, Darwin's shoe is visible but not colored in. The outline is there, but the color layer is missing, making it look unfinished compared to the rest of his body. And that's not the only continuity problem hiding in this episode. Earlier in the episode, there was also a background continuity issue. At the start, the front of the Wattersons' house is shown with no streetlight nearby. Later, during the nighttime fight over the remote, a streetlight pole suddenly appears next to Mr. Robinson's house, even though it wasn't there before. These mistakes happen in the same episode. They're brief and don't affect the story, but once you slow things down, they stand out as clear animation oversights. Even something as simple as a bathroom window can shift between episodes, creating subtle inconsistencies in the episode The Promise. There's a small continuity error when Darwin escapes using toilet paper as a rope, and everything looks normal at first glance. However, if you pay attention, a window appears that should have been a mirror. In all previous episodes, that spot consistently has a mirror, and in most episodes after, it returns to being a mirror as well. This leads to another continuity error in the Wattersons' bedroom. In the same episode, when Darwin uses toilet paper to repel, there's no window above the bathtub. Yet, in the season 3 episode The Lie, a window appears in the same spot, while Miss Simeon observes the family. The change is not a part of the story. It's an inconsistency in background design. Small details like this can confuse viewers who pay attention to these recurring sightings, making it a subtle but clear animation mistake. And it's not just backgrounds and bathrooms. Office layouts can glitch too. In the episode The Flower, there's a continuity error in Principal Brown's office. At the start of the scene, a glass window is visible in the office door. However, when the camera angle shifts, the window disappears for a brief moment before reappearing. And when characters express strong emotions, animation can slip in subtle ways too. Like later in the same episode, when Leslie starts spending a lot of time with Penny, which makes Gumball extremely jealous. The jealousy is shown to be splitting Gumball into two sides, a calm version and a darker one. During a scene where Gumball's darker side takes over, there's a brief animation mistake where his mouth drops for a brief moment. The rest of his face remains visible, but the missing mouth makes the frame look completely unfinished. It's a quick error, but noticeable when the scene is slowed down. And speaking of sudden disappearances, car scenes seem to be especially prone to these animation mistakes, because in the episode The Name, there's a noticeable continuity mistake involving Darwin. When the Wattersons drive under a truck, the top of their car gets ripped off. Just before this happens, Darwin is clearly sitting next to Gumball. However, in the next wide shot, after the crash, Darwin suddenly disappears from the car. A moment later, when the angle changes and the camera moves closer, Darwin is back in his original seat as if nothing happened. This isn't part of the action or a joke. It's a simple animation inconsistency caused by a missing character layer between shots. Strange things really do seem to happen whenever the Wattersons are inside that car. Car scenes in the amazing world of Gumball have a habit of going a little little off the rails, especially when it comes to the character placement, because Darwin isn't the only one affected by this. In the episode The Vacation, Anais shows the same kind of issue. She gets into the car after being scared, and in one shot, she's sitting in the front passenger seat. Then in the very next one, she suddenly appears in the back with Gumball and Darwin. There's no movement shown and no time for her to switch seats. It's another simple continuity mistake caused by a quick camera cut. Well, that's all the animation errors I could find. If there's any I missed, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe. Let's make a goal and try to hit 500,000 subscribers by the end of the year. You guys are the best. And if you're still here, click the video on screen. I'm sure you'll love it.